So, hi everyone, I got a horrible cold and I've been coughing, and so I decided to go and see what I could find in terms of remedies, as in herbal remedies. And so I'm just going to show you what I have here. Today is the 4th of June, I think, 2021, just to give you the time of year so that you kind of know what's in season. And anyhow, let's go through these. So what I'm going to do is make a tea from some of these ingredients by chopping up the leaves and pouring boiling water over them. I have a little teapot that I can use. What we have here first is stinging nettle, and this is kind of a superfood. Unless you're a masochist, don't eat it raw, but it's very high in vitamin C, which would be good for colds, and it's good for coughs apparently. Also it's a bit of a panacea, things like anemia, arthritis, eczema, urinary and prostate problems. But I'm going to use that in my little herbal tea for my cold. Then next here we have, I think it's pronounced mullein, and it's like a velvety kind of leaf that could be used as a toilet paper substitute if you were desperate. And apparently it can be used to heal broken bones as well, and it is recommended for dry irritable coughs, which I have had. So I'll mention before I forget that I'll be sipping this tea hot and then sipping it cold and then gargling with it every time I have a coughing fit. It really seems to have been helping. Haven't tried mullein yet in one of my concoctions, but I will be using it shortly. Good for bronchitis, asthma, laryngitis, pleurisy, so it seems to be really good for the lungs. That's mullein. Then we have yarrow, and this is really good for first aid for really bad wounds and cuts, for stopping blood, and also useful for different menstrual problems, but apparently good for colds and fevers as well. So I'm going to stick that in my tea. And then we'll move on to plantain, and I've shown it here with a little flower thing, and just note that the ribs kind of go lengthways along the leaf. And plantain is good for insect stings and ulcers apparently, hay fever, allergies, but apparently it's also good for coughs and bronchitis and sore throats, so I'll definitely be using that. And then we have dandelion, tooth of the lion, and that's really good for salads. You can eat that raw, and it's mostly a diuretic and good for helping with water retention, but it's an expectorant, and so it'll be good for chest congestion, so that'll be in my tea. And then we have some comfrey with a little flowers, just to show you what that looks like. And apparently that can be used as a cough remedy and for asthma and sore throats, presumably as a gargle, so I'll be gargling with this as well. And now I have a couple of different types of mint, which are good for, I guess, clearing the airways for colds and flu and coughs and fever apparently. And then the elder trees have just started to flower, and so there are some leaves just to show you what they look like, because there are quite a few little white flowers around that kind of look like this. But this is elderflower, very good for the immune system, I guess, and for fevers, colds, flu, breaking up catarrh, which I kind of need. What you need to do is, on a sunny day, pick the whole heads, and then you can use them fresh, but the flower season's not very long, so you probably want to dry some. I froze some as well, and you can put the heads on a piece of brown paper to dry, and then remove the flowers with a fork from the stems. You could also, last year I used a low heat dehydrator to dry these, and apparently you can use them with nettle specifically for hay fever. So that's that. Then I have some Cleavers or goosegrass. This is a very poor wilted specimen, but I'm too lazy to go and get some more. But Cleavers have the little sticky leaves that stick to everything, and I forget the botanical term, but the leaves kind of radiate out from the stem in a kind of circular pattern. And Cleavers or goosegrass can be used to reduce temperature with a fever. And the tea that I make from these really tastes quite nice. So I like the taste anyway. So I'm going to include those. I'm not feeling very feverish anymore, but I suppose early on they'd be quite good. And then I wish I had the flowers for these. This is Sweet Violet, which apparently is an expectorant and good for bronchitis and catarrh and asthma, so I'll just include the leaves. I probably would have included the flowers as well, but I don't have any right now. Then we have Herb Robert, and I just think these are so pretty. They have little pink flowers, and I don't have one of those to show you, but there it is anyway. And apparently you can make a good mouthwash with this. It has antimicrobial properties, maybe anti-cancer properties as well. Might be good potentially could help with skin cancer. Helpful if you gargle and wash your mouth out with tea for mouth ulcers, sore throats, so that's going to be included. And then finally, I wish I had flowers for this as well, because they're beautiful little purple flowers, but this is Germander Speedwell. There's some debate amongst herbalists as to whether this has any effect, but it seems to be good for, traditionally it was used for nervous exhaustion and whooping cough, but apparently it's just very good as a tonic for restoring and energizing. So I am going to include that as well, and it has a nice name because Speedwell probably came from speed you well or get better soon, and so that's that. So that's all my herbs that I am probably going to do the typical thing that I do and just mix them all together. I'm just going to chop them up and stick them in a teapot and brew a cup of tea, leave it to sit for a while, maybe add a bit of honey and lemon to the concoction. I hope there are no kind of contraindications for mixing any of these things, but whatever, I like to mix stuff together, so that's what I'm going to do. And I have found so far, using some of these, I haven't used all of them yet, that if I have a coughing fit and I take a sip of the cold tea and gargle with it, the coughing goes away. So it's great because I have lungs that tend to be very sensitive and I cough a lot after I've had a cold, and this is brilliant because I didn't know I had these available before. So there you go. I will see you in the next video. Bye.